Hi there, I'm Lauren Patisi, the creator of A Voice for Echo, here for episode 2 with Lissa Coulter and Chelsea Sulkey. They are musicians from Nashville, and we all came together to talk about mental health. So we are back for episode 2. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey. So we were talking the other night, kind of just chatting about what we were going to talk about today, and some common things came up with how our anxiety and depression kind of surfaced in our lives. And one thing that we all had in common was childhood. It all kind of started then. So I know for myself and for you, Lissa, it was our own childhoods, like growing up with our parents and our family life. And Chelsea, damn, you're so lucky, girl, that you
I know.
didn't have that.
I'm very blessed.
But another thing that we all experienced was bullying as a kid, like from other kids.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and I think this is why a lot of parents don't like their kids going on the school bus. A lot of mine started from kindergarten, being on the school bus. I was the quiet little girl, you know what I mean? I kept to myself. I was scared.
I was exactly that way too.
Yeah. It's kindergarten through 5th grade, and those are huge age differences.
Yeah.
And the 5th graders, you know, the cool kids in the back would like be talking about things that I've never even heard of. And I don't remember specifics, but I do remember them kind of targeting me. And I don't know if they meant to be cruel or they were joking, but like I just wasn't developed yet. I was still a baby. And I just didn't know how to like take things from the older kids. So I just took it as they're making fun of me. Like I'm not cool. Like
I actually had an issue on the school bus too, which I totally forgot about at like the bus stop and on the bus. I remember that I was in 5th grade and the 8th grade, like boys would always just like gang up on me for no reason. And I was, what am I doing to upset you? And like, again, being that age, like you don't understand, is it me? Like, is it something that I'm doing, or, you know, what is the situation? And it's hard to understand that and hard to understand where all of it's coming from.
Right, right. Especially as a kid, it's like your brain isn't even fully developed until you're like 25 or something. So,
yeah.
you know, as a kid, you can't help it. You don't know anything. And you just think, well, I mean, I didn't do anything, but why are they treating me like this? It must be me. And I actually wasn't allowed to ride the school bus. My parents were like super overprotective. Whole other video. But anyway, so I used to get rides to school. So that didn't affect me, that piece. But I did get picked on in school a lot. Not from the time of kindergarten. I just was really nice to everybody. I always have been like that person. Like I've always been afraid of, I don't even know how to explain it, not liking me. So I always have been like that nice person. And that's just who I was from a young age. And I feel like the kids were nice in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, whatever. And then like, as we started to get older, I don't think it actually even was a thing for me until probably middle school. Because I think when I was in elementary school, it was like, oh, all the kids are nice and I'm just hanging out with the nice kids and we're all just playing together. And then when I got to middle school, all the schools kind of like went together, like all the elementary schools came to one. And then it was like, well, now there's kids I don't know and they don't know me. And now I'm like super reserved and quiet because I don't know them. And then that's when they would pick on me and say the same stuff like to you, Chelsea. What's wrong with you? Don't you talk? How come you can't open your mouth? And they would pick on me for like the dumbest things. Like I'm tall. Who's making fun of people for being tall? I don't know.
Oh, I got the total opposite.
I'm just like, sorry for growing. I don't know.
Yeah, like, for sure. No, yeah, for sure. I remember me and Chelsea talked about this, but I remember in my bullying started in like 1st grade. There were a few girls, and then in 3rd grade it got really bad with some girls who were just really nasty. But I remember in middle school, that's when it hit me and my family the worst. And I think the same for my sisters about middle school, when it hit her the worst too. And I just remember there was this one time where I sat down and there was one chair left and there were 3 girls who wanted to sit at the table. Everyone else at the table, there was this one girl who was like, no one wants you here, like saying this to me, no one wants you here anyway, like we'd rather these girls sit here, like no one likes you, like you're a C word.
Oh my God.
And like in like 6th grade,
I'm middle school?
Yeah, in 6th grade. And I literally was like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know what that means. As I know, like, it was not a nice word. And like,
wow.
I remember like being like, oh my gosh. And I just sat there and I was like, I'm not moving. Like, I don't need to move. But like, the whole thing is like, why does it make you feel empowered to look down on someone and like treat someone like that. And I remember my mom going into the school and screaming, like she left my house crying and went to the school screaming at the principal because they weren't doing anything about it, and bullying, like they didn't have a law against it yet. It's really like scary how that stuff has like evolved and like what it used to be to like what it is now.
I have a pretty good idea. I know I'm older than you, Lissa. I don't know how old you are, Chelsea, but I think I'm older than both of you. So I think things were a little different when I was in school. Yeah, teachers didn't do, but I don't think bullying was even as prevalent when I was in school as it is now. I think it's so much worse. Like social media was not a thing when I was in school. Thank God. That would have been
even I remember when I was in school, like bullying had just become a thing where like, you know, the kids that were bullied and you knew the kids that weren't, like you knew.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And now it's left and right. Everyone has a
bullying. God. I don't even know how kids like make it through school now. It's just like
my sister went to college at her dream college, Stonehill, and she had a bullying problem there. She did. Wow. She had a harassment problem on the horseback riding team.
Wow.
Crazy. Just crazy. Like to the point where like I can't even get into it. There were so many situations, and my sister quit the team, and like adults weren't listening to her. And that was the whole thing, is like adults were not saying, oh, we believe you. Instead they were like, oh, well, maybe you need to sit down and talk about, well, oh, maybe this, oh, and it's like, no, there's an issue here that needs to be taken care of, and you're not taking care of it.
Right.
Like there was a way past the point of you two girls need to sit down and talk. We were way past that point. And like, it is just so awful that like it has continued, and it continues through college. Like that's insane.
Yeah. It even continues into adulthood. Like I've been in like work situations where I've been bullied by adult women, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
we are adults. Like stop that.
Yeah. And I mean, even being in the music industry, like I think it's the same thing. I think Chelsea can also agree to this. Like there's just so much, we're already putting so much pressure on ourselves to be like these people that people want to like. And then you have these other, you know, people who create toxic situations or who create environments that, you know, aren't always the best to be in. And they put you down because it definitely there's some sort of competition within the industry, 110%, but some people just take that to the next level. And it's like, guys, like we're all here to do music. We're all here to, you know, do what we love. Like we don't have to be mean towards each other. And I totally understand where it comes from. You know, we're beating ourselves, like, you know, metaphorically, like in our heads, and just being like, we have to be the best we can. We have to be something that people like. And like having that and mixing all of that together is definitely like just crazy, like left and right, and people coming at you and whatever the case may be, you know.
And I think that's like another thing, but with like musicians and creative minds, like every single like say songwriter or creative person that I've talked to all has some different type of like emotional or like mental health issue, because we're so passionate. And I think that's what people don't understand, is that because like when I was in school, like people call me dramatic all the time, and yeah, maybe I am dramatic, but our brains are just made like that. I think, you know, like we're made to just be so passionate and put 110% into what we do, that people don't understand. Like, any type of criticism we take so like honestly harshly, and we like obsess over it.
For sure.
Yeah, I think there's also in this type of work, I mean, obviously I'm not a musician, but I'm working in a creative field.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of insecurity and there's a lot of judgment, because everybody is putting themselves out there in a way that's very vulnerable and can be easily judged. I mean, if you're sitting somewhere in an office and you're working a 9 to 5, not saying that that is not important, but you don't put yourself out there as much as somebody that's on a stage or talking into a microphone or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of room for judgment. And I think with that, there's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of people out there pretending to be confident that aren't. And if there are people that are confident, like, yay, I think that's freaking awesome. And confidence is super important, but there's a lot of people that are not. And I don't think they know how to get it. So they try and just like cut other people down to feel better, because it's like gives them power or something.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
No, I mean, even in Nashville, there's like, I mean, Lissa knows there's this one specific group that has like targeted me. Wow. And I mean, a lot of people know them, and I think it is an insecurity thing though. And like, they're so mean to me. Like there's a group chat named after me specifically. What? I've never had a conversation with these girls. They're just nasty. But like at the end of the day, maybe they're just self-conscious. Like they're not, maybe they weren't popular, or I don't know what it is, because I'm friends with a lot of their guy friends and I think it is a jealousy thing.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's like bizarre, because I'm like, those are things that have hurt me that shouldn't. And they're things that I didn't obsess over, but I was just like, why?
Yeah, like,
you know,
what's the point of it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But because like I'm almost 26, so like I'm at that point where I'm a lot more confident with myself and more secure than I used to be. So I'm taking it as like, I feel sorry for them, instead of making it like there's something wrong with me, because I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me because I've never had a conversation with them.
And I think that's the big thing, is like understanding, especially for like those who will be watching this, like understanding that like if you are confident in what you do and you feel good about you, it's important to understand that that might be more of a reflection about them than about you.
Right. Exactly. At the end of the day, any mean girl, mean guy, they're hurting in some way and they're taking their hurt out on you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And people don't see us the way we see us. You know, we see everything because we are ourselves, you know, like you see everything that you think and feel and do, and so do all of us, but no one else is seeing that. So their perception of us is never going to match our own perception of ourselves. And maybe they're seeing something that they think is great, that they wish they had in themselves, that they wish they were doing, and they're not. So they're taking it out on someone else. And I've had that happen too. I think I told you guys this story off of a video, but like separately, I was kind of connected to this group of girls. I don't want to get too specific. They were acquaintances, and that was it. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to make these people my best friends. I was just like, oh, I mean, they're nice, like nice enough to be like, hey, how's it going? Like, but we're not going to hang out and stuff. I don't know. And they wanted to hang out with me. And I was, I mean, okay, but like, I have friends and you guys are cool from a distance. But we actually got together, found one of my photos and defaced it and wrote a nasty word over my face and posted it on the internet. This was a while ago, more than a few years ago. I still remember. And back then, I wasn't in a place where I could be okay with that and just laugh it off. No way. Like, I was so upset. I was crying. I was just like, oh my God, like everyone must think this about me. If they said it, it must be true. What did I ever do that was so bad? And obviously, looking back, it's a jealousy and it's an insecurity thing, because I did nothing wrong. I was always nothing but nice. And that's it. And it's difficult for me to see, because I know my flaws and I know my own insecurities, and I know how I feel about me. And so it's difficult for me to see myself from someone else's perspective, just like it is for all of us. And now I look back and I can see that for what it was. It's hard for me to understand that. But yeah,
it is hard. I mean, I think no matter how confident someone is with themselves, like there's still going to be like a little bit of, not obsession, but they're still going to like second guess something about themselves. Like, are they right in some way? Because I mean, I think we all do that. But
And I think the scary part about what, going back to Lauren's story real quick, that was posted everywhere and you're like, oh, everyone must think this of me. I remember I was in a situation a year ago and I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's going to hate me. What if like something gets blown up about me that's not true, blah, 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 blah. And then my dad had to talk with me and was like, Liz, not everyone hates you. The whole world doesn't hate you. It's a select few people that don't have either the full story or don't have correct facts or are told this. We blow things up in our minds so much to the point where it like drives us crazy and we think that there really is something wrong with us. And it just goes to show like how strong the human mind can be when you aren't in the right headspace, or when someone tries to do something like deface you or speak badly of you. Like it's scary. It's for sure 100% scary.
Yeah, it is. It messes with your mind. And even if you're in a place where you're feeling good and you're feeling confident, you're feeling secure in yourself, one little thing can just knock you down and change how you're feeling that day. And then you question everything. And you're like, oh my God, am I a fraud? Am I this? Am I that? Am I what these people are saying? And of course not. And anybody that's worth knowing is not going to just take what someone says about you on the internet once and be like, oh wow, yeah, that must be true about them. I'm going to just totally believe it because it was said on the internet. Like, no, how I view people is my own thoughts, feelings, perception of them from my own experiences, not from what some stranger on the internet says. And that's it. And I think though those are important opinions. You can't just go off an opinion off of someone that you don't even know of. If they're being a jerk, like, then you really don't want to, because it's like, well, where did this even come from? Obviously, they got their own thing going on, and I'm just going to judge this person based on what I know and what I've experienced on my own.
And I think, like, going back to the rumor things, even though, like, when people start rumors, like, even though you personally don't, like, you know it's not true, it's still so heartbreaking when you think that other people, like, believe it. Because you're like, do these people think I'm like that kind of a person? Because I remember when I was in high school, like, so many rumors were, like, made about me. And so I was dating this guy for a couple of years, and, like, I loved him. He was, like, my high school love or whatever. And I remember this one girl targeted me all of high school. And, like, even after high school, she still did. And she would still make the same rumors, like, oh, Chelsea's cheating on so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And I was, like, the most innocent, like, naive person. My morals, my faith, like, everything was very strong. So, like, I wasn't that kind of a girl. The fact that, like, this like, girl just, like, told everyone that I was, like, basically sleeping around, and I was like, I've never even, like, done that. It was so embarrassing, so heartbreaking. I was like, what if this got back to my parents? They're gonna think this of me, and, like, what if they don't believe me, and blah blah blah. That's, like, something that still affects me, all those different rumors. And now I'm, like, staying back in my hometown, and Lissa saw it. I changed so much when I'm here because it's, like, almost like PTSD. And, like, these people don't understand how much they affect other people's lives. I wish I could tell them.
Yeah, it's definitely scary for sure.
Yeah. I don't think they understand the lasting effects that stuff has. I still remember mean stuff that girls would say to me in high school and things like that. Like, I remember being in 11th grade, and these two girls that sat next to me would make fun of me every single day. Every day in English class. And I did not know how to stand up for myself. And I was too afraid. I was like, if I tell them to F off, I'm going to get suspended, or I'm going to get in trouble, or I'm going to make it worse. So I just did nothing. And they got the whole class to gang up on me. And I remember we had a field trip, and the teacher did nothing, just ignored it. He just ignored it. And dude, you can't do that, but okay. Exactly. And I remember we had a field trip, and I just didn't go to school that day because I'm like, I'm not going to go on this field trip. I don't have any friends in this class. Everyone has ganged up on me, and I don't know how to stand up for myself. And I didn't know that I didn't know how to stand up for myself, really. I just didn't know what to do. So I was like, I'll just do nothing. But that was, like, the green light for them to just keep picking on me. And I remember feeling so, like, sorry for myself. I'm like, man, I'm missing out on this field trip that I should be going on because I am worried that I'm not going to have anyone to hang out with on this field trip, and it's not going to be fun. So I'm like, I guess I'll just stay home.
Yeah, that was, like, me in, like, when we would have, like, group projects in, like, 3rd and 4th grade, or no, maybe, like, 5th and 6th grade, 6th to 7th maybe. I hated when we had to do projects because I knew that, like, no one was dying to be my buddy. Like, no one was, you know what I mean? It's like no one was rushing over, no one was making eye contact with me when you heard school project, you know, and some don't realize the impact on that, because that's all you do is consistently wonder, like, what's wrong with me? And spiraling off of that, like, I remember getting into high school and thinking that I had to pretend to be someone else for people to like me. And I for sure definitely fooled some people for a little while. And then I, like, kind of was like, wait, why am I doing this? And I went back to who I was. And then I realized who my real friends were in high school. And there was some times in high school too, where I was going through, that's when kind of the family stuff started, like, spiraling off. And I, like, really, really had an understanding of who my friends were in that case and stuff like that. The thing that kind of pushed it overboard for me, and I don't really share this with many people, so this is kind of a new story to a lot of people, is my junior year of high school, I was having some issues with my dad and my parents' divorce and all of that. And me and my mom and my sister were going to my sister's horseback riding competition, and we were staying in a nice hotel or whatever. And these two girls came with us, and a huge blowout ended up happening. Like, my sister was competing, and I was arguing with these two girls that thought that it was going to be a mini vacation, and it wasn't. I get back to school Monday morning, and all of a sudden there's a rumor going around school that my mom dropped them off in the middle of nowhere and left them there to suffer. And we're over here like, are you kidding me? And, like, that went from being a me to being, like, my mom. And I was like, oh, heck no, we are not doing that. And I went home to my mom. My mom yanked me out of school, and that was the last straw. And it's like, you shouldn't have to get to that point. There shouldn't be a point where you feel so uncomfortable going to school. That shouldn't, like, there shouldn't be a point of that. I don't know like how things get to a point of that, but there shouldn't be a point. And the fact that it's like developed, like consistently developed into worse and worse and worse over the years is so scary. So scary. But it again, like it's a reflection on the girls. Like it's a reflection on them. It's a reflection on how they're feeling, because I know that whatever I did was right. I know that I didn't do anything wrong. They just weren't expecting what was happening that weekend. We told them what was going to happen and they thought something different of it. And that is a perfect example of like, I didn't do anything there. That's not my fault. They interpreted it the wrong way of what was happening. Like,
right.
I can't do anything about that. But it like, that's an example of that wasn't me. That was not me. And that was not my mom. We were straight up and told them what was happening and they took it in the wrong direction and then spin this whole story out the next week at school. It's so crazy.
But I think the important thing is that you know that it wasn't you, and you know who you are as a person. You can be true to yourself. And same for you, Chelsea, with that rumor that was happening to you in high school. The most important thing here is for you to know the truth. We all have to live with ourselves for our entire lives. And there are crappy things that are going to happen at certain times in our lives it's not a good situation and it's tough to get through. But in the end, you're going to get through that situation and you have to be okay with who you are. And you know that your faith and your morals were not compromised. You stayed true to yourself. And Lissa, you stayed true to yourself. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most, you know? So I think that's an important thing to realize. But I think a lot of this stuff, it carries with us through our whole lives. It's like, I've been out of high school longer than you guys, and I still remember this stuff. I remember it happening, and I know how it affects me. And I know that when I get into a situation where someone is picking on me or making fun of me or whatever, I do the exact same thing I did when I was in high school. I just withdraw. I isolate. I don't fight back. It's like the fight or flight thing. Mm-hmm. And every single time, I'm like, I'm out of here. Bye. Like, I don't fight back. That's just not what I do. And that's how I've been since I was a young kid. I feel like that stuff is instilled in us in such a young age. And that just shapes who we are going to be. What the hell? Ew, an ant just fell on me. Get out of So that just shapes who we're going to become as an adult. And that is so true. I was that way at 5. I'm like that now. So it's just part of who I am. And It's crazy.
I think that's how I have changed, is because I never used to stick up for myself. And now I'm a total spitfire.
Oh my gosh, Chelsea will go off.
Yeah. And I'm like, I wish I was like that in high school and middle school and whatever, but I wasn't. And I think that because I let people walk all over me for so long, that now I just like finally got to that breaking point where I was so fed up and I was like, I will never, ever, ever let anyone treat me like that. And I'm like that with dating. I'm like that with friends. You'll know how I feel at this point. Even with that group chat, like I knew one of the people that were in it and I called them and I said, this is absolutely uncalled for. I was like, I don't know if you guys are insecure about yourselves, but this is not okay. This is bullying. I was like, this is just disgusting. And he's like, I'm sorry, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's not even about being sorry. It's like, it's just the fact that you guys like thought morally that was okay to do.
Right.
I was like, I've never even talked to half of these people.
Exactly.
So it was just ridiculous. Yeah, I think like we just need to know like our worth. Yeah. Also, what kind of does it for me too is seeing like my friends go through it, because I'm even more protective with my friends and like my family and stuff. I'll stick up for them before I stick up for myself. I mean, I think that's just like almost like a motherly type of thing that's in me. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it started, is like seeing my friends getting bullied and stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to let people talk down to them. So I was like, if I can stick up for my friends, I can stick up for myself.
For sure. And I think going along with that, I think like really the first step into like kind of accepting who you are and accepting that you're quiet, or accepting that people would call me weird. I don't know. We're all weird, so I don't see it. But like, I think the first thing is understanding, like, and embracing it, and like really like understanding, yeah, I am this way and that's cool with me. And if I want to change it, all right, let's take the steps to change it. But the first step to take is like embracing it and accepting that that's who you are as a person. And I think that's probably, Chelsea, how you, whether it was subconsciously or not, that's probably how you started, getting through that and pushing through that and being like, okay, this is how I am. I'm going to admit to myself that I'm this way, but I'm going to change it and I'm going to like improve on myself because that's what I want to do. I think it's important that people like understand that it's okay to be quiet and it's okay to be tall and it's okay, things that we can't, that we have a harder time controlling. Like, it's okay to be those things. I'm cool with not always being, you know, the normal one. Like, I'm weird, I'm crazy, I'm silly. That's just who I am. But I think the important part about that is like embracing who you are. And I think that's going to help you be able to take those next steps. If, say, you know, there is something you want to change, like you don't want people to step on you, and, you know, saying, you know what, right now I really do let people step on me and I don't like it, so I'm going to change it. So I think a really good like first step into that is in like embracing it and like understanding like who you are as a person.
Exactly.
That is something I struggle with so hard. Like, I just try to not get myself involved in situations where there's going to be any conflict because I'm so bad at dealing with it. It gives me like a ton of stress, a ton of anxiety. And so I just try to not be a part of those situations because I know myself. It sucks because I want to be able to stand up for myself because I need to know my own worth and that I'm important and I deserve to be treated well. But that is something I have to work on because but like add it to the list, right? Because I'm just like, there's other stuff that takes precedence.
Right.
I guess the point is it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to have things about you that you don't like, that you want to change, and it's okay to be yourself and have a hard time understanding why people aren't treating you the way that you deserve. And I think at the end of the day, it's about being secure with yourself and understanding
Absolutely.
Right. And I think it also is important to understand, just keep reminding yourself over and over and over, it's not you, it is them. If someone is being horrible to you, it's because they are unhappy or miserable or something is going on with them.
They're hurting.
And it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So
absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. This has been
Thank you.
therapeutic.
I know.
All right, we'll wrap it up with how people can get a hold of us. I'm Radio Lauren on all social platforms. We already discussed that we don't like Twitter, so whatever, but I'm there. And Facebook and Instagram is what I'm mostly active on. And A Voice for Echo is my blog, and you can find that on Facebook and on Instagram as well.
And I am on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that fun stuff as well, Spotify and iTunes as well, at Lissa Coulter. If you just search Lissa Coulter, I will be right there. All the other fun stuff going on in the journey of Lissa Coulter there.
Yeah, and then for me, you can just go to my website at chelseasulke.com, and then all my socials are there. But just search Chelsea Sulke on any social media platform, and it'll come up.
Thank you, guys. All right, we will talk to you next week for another edition of A Voice for Echo, the mental health series. Thanks for being here, and take care of yourselves. Be well.